guys, it's been a minute. I'm so glad to be back here on YouTube. I know you guys missed me. I definitely missed you too. My name is Adeyemi and this is Kinaland. It's so great to be back. And today I would like us to discuss how to become a better writer or a better storyteller. It's so easy. It takes quite an amount of intentionality, but at the end of the day, it's not as hard as you think. Stay tuned. This video is for you if you want to become a better writer, or if you just started writing and you don't even know how to take the next steps. You don't know what to do to get better, or if you are a storyteller and you are wondering where you can get some more story ideas, or you are encountering a creative block and you want to get out of that block as soon as possible. This video will try to sort out all of these concerns. So the first thing to do if you are looking for story ideas or you want to just develop your writing skill is to keep a journal or a diary. I personally prefer the diary option because every single day is laden with stories that we don't even take note of. So imagine you keep a diary consistently for say 7 days. Each day you are very detailed. Now don't just write your diary like you're trying to report it to someone. Write your diary like you're gisting a friend about the tiniest details of your day. So, for example, you start by writing about the time you woke up, the time you intended to wake up, how many times you snoozed the alarm, who you encountered on your way out, a driver you had, an episode with. Maybe you extended a compliment to somebody. How did the person respond? Who are the people you met on your way to the office or on your way to school or on your way to your business location? What were the conversations you had? What were the conversations you wished you had? Did you try to confront somebody about something? All of these tiny details. If you are a mom or you are a dad, what were the conversations you had with your children? All of these details put together, when you write them down, you might not even realize it. But some few days later, weeks later, maybe years later, when you look back and you retrospect, you see that there are so many stories embedded in each day that you probably are not taking note of. Imagine the best way for you to connect to your audience as a storyteller is to tell a story they can relate to. So I'm sure one of the easiest kind of stories to relate to, especially with yourself, are the stories about your own day, about how your day went. Now, there are certain stories you read, there are certain movies you watch, there are certain things you hear, and you can easily predict or guess who the kind of person telling that story might be, what kind of mind the person has. It's because there's a level of relatability or relativity in that story that catches you as the audience. So one thing you should really do if you want to develop your writing skill is to keep a diary and to be as detailed as possible with every little detail of your day. Another thing you can do if you want to become a better storyteller or story writer is to start loving research. I'm going to do a whole video to explain why researching is very important to your journey as a writer or as a storyteller, because trust me, when you do some research, it helps you to find so many story ideas or to even write about things that you never knew existed. So imagine you wanted to write a storybook about a particular culture that is fictitious. Maybe you're trying to just cook up a kind of culture in your head. It would be of great benefit to you if you could actually do some research on some ancient cultures or some cultures that are actually going into extinction, that you could pick one or two things from to develop the kind of plot that you are working on. Let's even say you are not trying to develop a whole fictitious kind of culture and you're actually trying to work on something that is real. You might need to make some research in order to know how best to communicate that culture to your audience. So there was a short video, an Instagram reel, I guess, I did to talk about this very briefly, and there's an example I gave. I'm going to give that example now. Now imagine somebody who is a Briton, born, bred, a full Briton, trying to write a story about the Yorubas. The Yorubas are a major tribe. The Yoruba culture is a major tribe in Western Nigeria. So somebody who was born, bred, and totally developed all their lives, lived all their lives in the UK, and they are trying to write about the Yoruba culture, trying to bring a story about the Yoruba culture, and then they want to create a conversation between a father and a son, for example. So maybe that conversation started with a greeting and they're insinuating that the son greeted his father with a handshake. People out there who don't have anything to do with Yoruba culture might believe that if this culture is truly real, then they greet themselves with handshakes, which is a total blunder because according to the Yoruba culture, we are very, very respectful. We show respect in every means possible. So when a son is trying to greet his father, he does that by prostrating with his chest on the ground, going down flat. So such person just created a blunder because he did not make enough research. Now imagine trying to write a legal movie or write a legal story and you don't know anything about the law. It would benefit you actually to do some study about lawyers, about the law, about litigation matters so that you don't end up making blunders and you can do things that are very relatable. There's a particular genre of movies that I appreciate for this. In any movie they do, you know that so many research went into this, whether it's about romance, it's about medicine, it's about law, it's about entertainment, it's about whatever niche or industry they decide to make a movie out from. You know that these people really thought it through and did a lot of research. So you might not do a research after getting a story idea, because now I'm even talking about trying to get the story idea. You could decide to just poke into any industry, try to read about them, try to do some research into how they operate, and from there you could actually get a story idea. Who knows? Another thing you could do to become a better story writer or to become a better storyteller is to actually read stories. And you might, of course, not everybody, nobody actually has an interest in every single thing. So, as a writer slash storyteller, you want to develop yourself. You could try to find an author that you really relate to and read what they have to say. Now, this doesn't just have to be about fictitious works like stories and all. Even if you want to go into non-fiction, blog writing, any kind of writing that is non-fictitious, you want to find an author who does something maybe similar to what you are looking to get into and actually follow them, read what they've put out there and try to relate to what they've said. Now this is not because you want to copy their style of writing or you want to copy their style of telling stories, but you just want to refresh your mind because it takes iron to sharpen another iron. Okay, reading through the stories of people who you love does not necessarily mean that you get to copy them. However, if you soak yourself too much into studying a particular kind of writing style, you might lose yourself while trying to do something that's excellent. So the best thing to do is to pick from here and there to create your own style of writing and storytelling. So probably the last thing I would mention, maybe not last or second to the last thing I'll mention, is to get feedback. It is to get feedback. You need feedback. When you write to a point, there has to be somebody that you share your work with who would give you corrections, who would give you tips, who would give you insights. Probably a coach. I do this for quite a number of people, and I have people who also do this for me. I send my writings to them to help me check through, to help me correct. I get their criticism and I filter through. That is very important because it's not every correction that comes in that ends up being useful for you or for the kind of style that you're trying to develop for yourself. However, keep a very open mind. Keep a very, very open mind as a writer slash storyteller. Put your story ideas together. Get somebody who you can trust to help you check through and to give you some feedback on it. It is very, very important because I don't think it is possible to grow as a creative without getting feedback on your work from people who can give you the quality feedback. You don't always want to rely on what your audience is saying. Of course, your audience, the people you are telling the stories, are very important, but then there are times when even the consumer doesn't know what they want until you give it to them actually. So be sure to get feedback. Yes, I knew that wouldn't be the last thing. One more thing to mention is please find a community of storytellers or writers you can join. This would help you greatly. It doesn't necessarily have to be a formally structured kind of community. It could just be a group of friends or a group of people who you know that are very good writers and storytellers and they are within your reach. Oh, and they are within your reach. You can reach out to them, tell them you're a writer or you just started your journey as a writer slash storyteller and you would like to share some of your stuff with them for them to go through. Also, be sure to not put yourself in a situation where you are always receiving. Try to also contribute to this community. Don't just be the person who is always asking for what people have to think about what you are doing. Be sure to also contribute to others. If you are looking for a community to join or you don't know which community you can join, you can drop a comment, tell me what kind of writing you want to go into, or if you've not even known the exact part in writing that you want to thread, so that I could link you up to some communities I know about. Personally, I run two storytelling communities and I have some very, very awesome people with which we share ideas. We try to get feedback on each other's productions. Also, in case you did not know, this channel is hosted by Kinaland, a media and storytelling academy. So not only do we help people to start out as writers, we also help them to earn from their writing while also trying to help them chart their exact path as storytellers. So in case you need a community, in case you need somebody you can talk to really start developing yourself or to begin your journey as a writer, please drop a comment and I'll definitely reach out to you. So this is the point where I draw the curtain, and thank you very much for watching up to this point. My name is Adiemi and this is Kena Land. Until we meet again, keep writing and keep telling your stories.